Okay, you're all set.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to today's meeting of the Seattle Planning Commission. On behalf of the Commission, we'd like to acknowledge that the City of Seattle is on stolen Coast Salish land, specifically the ancestral land of the Duwamish, Suquamish, and Muckleshoot tribes. We strive to remedy this injustice through our beliefs and actions in helping to steward our land and communities in Seattle. Welcome. All regular meetings of the Seattle Planning Commission are open to the public. However, as an advisory body, the Commission does not hold public hearings. We provide recommendations to elected leaders who in turn make the actual decisions. We encourage individuals and organizations to provide their comments to elected officials. Today's meeting is a hybrid meeting where some members are participating remotely, while others are participating in person in the boards and commissions room at Seattle City Hall. It might just be staff today, but hi, y'all. So we'll start with reviewing our color brave space norms. I'd like to ask the commissioners to review our revised color brave space norms that should be up on the screen. And I'll ask a commissioner to read one aloud with a brief comment about the relevance of it to our current work. If there aren't any volunteers, I'll pick someone, but if someone wants to volunteer, that would be great. Okay, so why don't I'm not seeing anybody volunteer.
I'll do one, David.
Oh, thanks, Rick. Appreciate that.
I would like to select create a space for multiple truths while prioritizing and believing lived experiences of racism. And I think this is always relevant to our work because we live in a complex and nuanced environment where there are many different experiences, but it's important that we focus on those who have been underrepresented and harmed by policies of the past.
Thank you, Rick. Very well said. If there are no amendments or modifications to these norms, then I suggest we agree to them for today's meeting. I think everyone's in agreement. So at future meetings, whoever's chairing the meeting will contact a fellow commissioner, one of you, in advance of the meeting and ask that you choose one of these and speak to the norm that is particularly relevant to the agenda items for that meeting. Commission leadership discussed this earlier in the month as one way to be more intentional about incorporating the norms into our work. Today we have only one item on the agenda, the final review and approval of our letter of support for the mayor's proposed housing levy. But first we need to approve a couple sets of meeting minutes. Last month or last meeting we didn't have a quorum, so today we'll have to do two of them. So first up is the April 27th, 2023 minutes. I would ask for a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
Rose, motion.
Rose.
Michaela seconds.
And Michaela seconds. Thank you very much. Any amendments or changes to those minutes? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, make a sound and wave a hand, or
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. The April 27th minutes are adopted. Now we move on to the May 11th meeting. I'd ask for a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
Jamie motions.
Thanks, Jamie.
Rick seconds.
Jamie and Rick seconds. Okay, any changes or amendments? And hearing none, all in favor of adopting the minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Thumbs up is good too.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? All right, May 11th minutes are approved. Moving on to upcoming meetings. The next Housing and Neighborhoods Committee meeting is Thursday, June 1st, 7:30 to 9 a.m. Yes, that's the morning. This meeting will be held online using the MS Teams platform. Our next full commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 8th from 3 to 5:30 p.m. This meeting will be held both in person and on Teams. Vanessa, over to you for announcements, etc.
Thank you. As noted, this is a hybrid meeting, although the only people in the room are staff this morning, Olivia and myself. During the meeting, there will be opportunities for questions and comments from commissioners, and I would just like to remind you all to use the chat to be recognized, and I'll help David keep an eye on the queue. And please do remember not to put any substantive comment in the chat, as members of the public cannot access the chat. I will say that I have not received any public comment, so and nobody's here in the room. That's why I keep looking over. So we at this time do not have any public comment. I will also note that at the meeting of the leadership that David referenced earlier on in this meeting, it was also decided to try taking public comment both before we review projects or discuss any of our business, as well as at the end. And that way it'll give people an opportunity to offer their comment before we deliberate, as well as respond to our deliberations at the end of the meeting. We're going to try this out and see how it goes. And so that's why you see on the agenda 2 opportunities for public comment. With that, I'll ask David to start the introductions. After introducing yourself, please call on a fellow commissioner to introduce themselves, and then we'll conclude with staff.
Okay, I'm David Goldberg. I use he, him pronouns, co-chair of the Seattle Planning Commission. And I live in the Wallingford Urban Village and work for the State Department of Transportation. And I would ask Michaela to go next.
Good morning, Michaela Daffern, she, her pronouns. I co-chair the commission. I live in Capitol Hill and I work in affordable housing policy and planning. And I'll call on Rick.
Thanks, Michaela. Rick Moeller. I use he, him pronouns. I live between Wallingford and Green Lake, and I am an architect and teach at the UW. And I will call on Caleb.
Good morning. My name is Caleb Twolday, he, him pronouns. I live in Columbia City and I work at Rainier Scholars. I'll pass it off to Rose.
Morning all, Rose Luchila, Whitson, my pronouns, they, them. I live up in Licton Springs and I work as a wetland biologist and permitting specialist with Jacobs Engineering. I'll pass to Julio.
Hello everyone, Julio Sanchez. When in Seattle, I reside in the Capitol Hill area, pronouns he, him. My area
Julio, we just lost your audio as well as your video. So there you are again. You're back.
All right, so I was just paying homage to a personal hero of mine, Tina Turner. And if you hear some noise in the background, I'm sorry, we have an electric power outage. We're running on emergency generators and they are noisy.
Wow, that is commitment to join us while your electricity is in scarce supply. So thank you, Julio. We have Jamie, Matt, and Deanna left. Julio, take your pick.
Jamie, I'll call on Jamie.
Thanks, Julio. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jamie Strobel. I use she, her pronouns, and I live in the future 130th Station area, and I work in climate change and environmental justice. And I will pass to Matt.
My name is Matt Hutchins. I am an architect. I use he, him pronouns. I live in the West Seattle Future Station area. Maybe.
Dream on that.
Will it into existence?
Okay, Diana.
I'm Diana Quintanar. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Capitol Hill and I am a multimodal transportation planner. And I think that's it, right? Staff?
Olivia.
I'll go first. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Olivia Baker, I use she, her pronouns, and I'm staff to the commission. Then I'll pass it to John.
Good morning, everybody. I'm John Hoy, staff to the Planning Commission. I use he, him pronouns. I'm coming to you from my basement in the sick house today, where all four of us are sick at home.
Good to hear that.
Thank you for rallying, John.
Yeah, thanks, John. Robin McGonigal, I use she, her, they, them pronouns. I live on Vashon Island. I am staff to the commission, and I am not sick, and I will pass it to Vanessa.
Thanks all. Vanessa Murdoch, I use she, her pronouns. I am staff to the commission. And with that, I will turn it back to David.
All right. We don't have any public comment, correct?
That is correct.
So we will move forward to our action item for today, which is taking action on the letter in support of the mayor's housing levy proposal. The Housing and Neighborhoods Committee developed this letter in the January and April committee meetings, and the full commission has discussed the letter at our April 13th, April 27th, and May 11th meetings. At this time, I'd like to invite anybody who should disclose any perceived conflicts of interest in this topic and recuse yourself from the discussion if that interest is of a direct financial nature. Anyone have anything they would care to disclose? Great. We had a.
Sorry, I was like trying. I was debating whether or not I should put my name in the box or just raise my hand. Michaela Daffern. I work for King County's Department of Community and Human Services. And we, other people on my team, fund projects that use Office of Housing funds. So I do not have a direct financial benefit from the outcome of the Seattle housing levy, but out of an abundance of caution, I just wanted to disclose my relationship with the King County. My opinions today do not represent the opinions of my employer.
Great. Given that there's no pecuniary interest, I don't think there's any reason for you to recuse. So we had a number of commissioners who were absent at the May 11th meeting. I'd like to highlight some of the discussion as reflected in the minutes just approved. Do you want me to do that, or was the staff going to do that? I'm happy to do it.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah. Commissioners stated that the discussion at the April 27th meeting indicated support for the city's final levy amount. A statement in the revised draft letter discussed on May 11th supported increasing the levy seemed to contradict that discussion. Commissioners recommended including language to express support for the proposed levy amount. Commissioners suggested maintaining language in the draft letter supporting the proposed amount as a floor, but not a ceiling for the levy amount. Commissioners expressed support for the Office of Housing's proposed levy amount, although it is not enough to meet the significant need for affordable housing. Following a brief presentation from Olivia, I will ask for a motion to approve the final draft letter. I'll then ask if there are any final comments before taking a vote on the letter. If you have any proposed changes to the final draft letter, please be prepared to suggest specific language for the proposed edit. It's important to take action today in order to send it to the City Council in advance of their discussion and deliberation on this topic. And I'll turn it over to Olivia.
Thanks, David. I will be super brief. I just wanted to cover some of the key, just give you a highlight of the key revisions that were made so that when you do a 5-minute review, which I'll turn to next, you know what to look for. So as David mentioned, based on conversation from the May 11th meeting, I removed language recommending council consider increasing the total levy amount, that specific language, and replaced it with some less specific language into that regard. I also made specific text and grammar edits that were raised at the meeting because there were some like line in, line out recommendations at that meeting. And then I included additional citations as requested. So you'll see those changes as you're doing your review. And so with that, I'd love to have folks take 5 minutes, look over the draft, and then we can go ahead and take action. if you're looking for the draft, it was sent out with a memo last week. It's also posted on our website. And if you need it, let me know. I'll drop a link.
Why don't you go ahead and drop the link just so we're safe?
Sure, I'll put that in the chat. Okay, that was about 5 minutes, so I'll pass it back to you, David.
Okay, great. So at this point, I'd like to ask for a motion to, and a second to approve the letter, after which we can talk about any suggested edits. Can you get a motion?
Rick moves.
I second.
Rick moves, Matt seconds. All right, so let's see what, I saw one in the chat, but do we have any? Let's see, why don't we start with you, Matt, since I know you're in line. Anybody else, put your name in the chat if you have a comment or a change to suggest. Matt?
Yeah, just reading this again, I was struck by we've got 4 strongs in the first 100 words. So I would propose that we change the first sentence to thank Mayor Harrell for leading with an expanded proposal of 970 million. Leave the second strong as is. And then I think the third strong, the commission sees the current proposal as a starting point. Just eliminate that strong, and then in the title of the next section, change that to a robust housing levy is necessary.
Olivia, did you get those?
I think I did, yeah.
Great. That's a good catch, Matt, I think. And those to me are reasonable suggested changes. Anybody have any heartburn with any of those? Can we put that as an amendment then? Change those strongs. Michaela, you had something.
I have a super minor amendment. Footnote 5 is one font size larger than the other footnotes. So just propose to make that Calibri 9. Otherwise, fantastic letter.
Yeah, because we
Thank
must
you.
be, if we're down to that, we must be very satisfied.
I can definitely change that. I also noticed some of the links decided not to be live anymore when I made it into a PDF, so I'll fix that as well.
Does anyone else have anything? Someone by the name of Live Event Presenter 20 says the letter is incredible. Hey, Deanna, are you the only one now that can't get in with your actual name?
I know. Olivia is probably going tisk at me. But yes.
Happy to help whenever you have time. I think we can make it
Thank you.
work.
So yeah, the letter is incredible.
I just put the changes in the chat, Jamie.
Thank you.
I have a comment from Julio in the chat. It's not a change, but a comment. I like that we tie the rising cost of everything to the need to maintain and even increase a healthy levy. Let's see, we have any other suggested edits? Is there anyone who hasn't spoken yet? Had any kind of comment who would like to make a comment before we go to a vote? All right. Then we will go for the vote. All in favor of adopting the letter with the edits as suggested? Aye, or some similar sign?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi. Hi.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the letter is approved. Send it on. And having the housing levy will surely pass with our support.
Can we all give ourselves a round of applause off mute? Yay! Thank you, Olivia.
Yay.
Thank you, Olivia.
Thanks,
Yes,
Helen.
thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. That was one of the cleanest, straightforward approvals that we have had. So thank you for that.
Well, after multiple committee meetings and this being the 4th time it's come before the full commission, it ought to be in pretty good shape. All right. We don't have any public comment, is that right?
That is correct. Nobody has joined us in the boards and commissions room, and I just checked my email again just in case, and no public comment has been received.
Okay. Vanessa, is there anything? Matt has a process question. No, Michaela has a process question.
Vanessa, is now a good time to try and iron out who's available to speak at next week's public hearing?
Yes, Radhika has volunteered to do so. And
Oh, fantastic.
Yep, and Olivia will be preparing notes, suggested notes for Radhika that taken directly from the letter. The letter is probably too long to be able to read within 2 minutes unless Radhika assumes an auctioneer type speed. So,
she could just say that the proposal is strong and leave it at that.
We'll do it. We'll expand it a little bit beyond that. And Radhika is having trouble joining the meeting. I can see her typing, but it hasn't showed up in the chat quite yet.
Wait, what meeting next week is this about?
There's a public hearing on the housing levy on the 31st at 4:30.
Okay.
And it's the last public hearing on the housing levy before council takes action and deliberates.
Okay.
My sincere appreciations to Radhika for stepping up to do that. I know that it takes time and it's, it can be a little intimidating to stand in front of a microphone. So appreciate it, Radhika, very much.
I second that. Thank you, Radhika.
I third.
Vanessa, is there anything else you want to share with everyone or anything else to talk about before we adjourn?
Nothing else, just a reminder that the Housing and Neighborhoods Committee is next Thursday, which seems really soon, but it's June 1st and that committee meets on the first Thursday. So no break next week except for Memorial Day, which I hope everybody enjoys.
We'll have good weather for it, it looks like, mostly. So, all right then, if there's nothing more, then I guess we're adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks all.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye all.